Alrighty, everybody. It is the chapter 1090 spoilers. They did just drop. I have not read any of them at this point, but I have them up on the screen. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and open it in the browser, and then we're going to read. I would love for you guys to meet Freya, my beautiful kitty. She's a lovely girl, and she's going to be hanging out with me for this chapter react. So it is going to be a little bit more of a peaceful one than normal, because I don't want her to, like, sprint away, that kind of deal. Alright, let's jump into it. One Piece chapter 1090, Admiral Kizaru. Alright, I'm going to go kind of like line by line, just reacting to it. Admiral Kizaru, we kind of expected this going into the Egghead situation, that Kizaru was going to be probably front and center of this upcoming chapter, or at least the next couple of chapters, because of the conversation with Sentomaru and things like that. I'm hoping we get some past exposition, as well as maybe some younger flashbacks of Kizaru and more of Vegapunk and whatnot going on. Insofar as what I think will happen is they're going to struggle to make landfall, like they're going to struggle to land on the beaches. And then Kizaru is going to do something that opens up the way for them to be able to do that. Alright, next point. We continue in the events of Egghead, good, where we see that Kizaru has already arrived on the island where the crew is by using the Katano Kagami. Or is that Yatano? I can't tell if it's K or a Y. My screen's a little iffy. I think it's Yatano Kagami technique. We continue in the events of Egghead, where we see that Kizaru has already arrived on the island. Well, there goes the thing I literally just said about them not being able to make it onto island unless Kizaru did something. He's already arrived on the island where the crew is. So that's not even just onto the shore. Unless the spoiler is wrong, because if he's at where the crew is, he's past everything. He's past all of the island's defenses, he's past the Labostratum defenses, and he's like in that room with them. Okay, next one. The Gorosei Saturn talks to Luffy through the Den Den Mushi, and Luffy tells him that he will become the king of the pirates, and Morgans is eavesdropping on them. Wait a minute. Morgans? Okay, so the whole eavesdropping thing, we're going to assume Morgans has a black Den Den Mushi, because last chapter, there was a black Den Den Mushi mentioned for being able to listen in to the transmission to the Gorosei. So that would seem to me that Morgans has a black Den Den Mushi that can trap or tap calls. Wow. Morgan's listening in? So that means Vivi is also there, listening probably, potentially, and also potentially Wapol still. Interesting. Alright, next one. Robin is with the Straw Hat crew. Okay, easy peasy. We kind of assumed that maybe there was nothing wrong, that she could have been off, like, reading the poneglyphs or potentially researching some other things. Obviously, it was a cause for distress in the last chapter, that Robin was not in that final page. Everybody was searching for her, kind of concerned with Rob Lucci and the whole CP0/9 thing going on, and them kind of always being down to kidnap her. Next bullet point is the Seraphim are enclosed in gigantic bubbles. Okay, I would assume that this means that those bubbles are suffused with the energy of the sea again, and it's basically like them being submersed in the ocean or in deep enough water, removing them from being able to move, like paralyzes them with weakness. Next bullet point. S. Snake has fallen in love with Luffy, and that's why he canceled Frank. Oh, and that's why she canceled Frankie's petrification. Wait, she fell for Luffy? Okay, this has to be a lineage factor thing. There has to be an aspect of your lineage factor that encodes your personality and the things that you've picked up in life. Like the big life altering things changes your lineage. It's got to, otherwise I don't see a reason for a snake to do that. I don't see a reason for that happening. And it has to be connected back to the lineage factor and potentially your life, your will, and your perspective and things that you live making an impact on your lineage factor. And as such, since it was collected, that love for Luffy was potentially transferred to S Snake as well. Because maybe, wait a minute, what if Sanji has all of his abilities because of um, the emotional ties, or false. Let me run it back. What if Sanji has all of his abilities because his lineage factor contains the bits and bobs from all of the random races or what have you that was used to create him? Um, and that's why he has these like super extreme personality quirks where he's like simping so hard over women. Maybe the aspect of his passion for women is exuded from a specific like celestial dragon perhaps, or maybe of someone of like higher caliber, with those like fire abilities and things like that. And she undid Frankie's petrification. So she did that because of an ask, um, or presumably he didn't ask her. No, presumably he did ask her and she did it. Unless she saw him and was like, "Oh wait, I know who you are," and then undid it. Um, strange. Kizaru arrives at Egghead Island and Sentomaru blocks one of Kizaru's lightsabers. Okay, so this goes back to the Kizaru has to be on not where the crew is. The first bullet point says where the crew is, but this says that he's with Sentomaru. So unless he like showed up where the crew was and then Sentomaru's there taking like tanking the attack. Maybe that's what it is. Um, the next bullet point says the crew thinks of escaping to Elbaf Island with the Vegapunk machines. That's great. The crew thinks of escaping. That's good. So at least they're not being so like stubborn to be like, no, we can do anything we want now. We're Yonko. Like they're like, okay, this is a lot. We might need to get the hell out of Dodge. Um, to Elbaf Island with the Vegapunk machines. Does that include Egghead? Does that include the Labostratum? Because I would assume that's almost entirely a machine. Um, and if so, you're gonna take Egghead to Elbaf? Ooh, wait. You take Egghead to the top of Elbaf tree, and the egg will hatch into a giant Uranus, a giant bird, a giant weather egg, like Dak's been saying maybe. Oh my god. A gi- Okay, next bullet point. York put a password on the island so no one can escape. What the fuck? I mean, it could be cool. It could be a cool premise. Why the fuck would Vegapunk, like the Stella Vegapunk, not just have an override for everything? As smart as Vegapunk is, he seems to be pretty fucking dumb when it comes to his satellites. Maybe that's just an aspect of because he lobotomized himself for them or like did something to his brain. Maybe it made him dumber. Who knows? But if you can't even have a fucking like safe lock on your password, you're I don't know, bro. Next one. Next bullet point says at the end of the chapter, Luffy notices something through his observation haki. and says that a very powerful person has arrived. Okay, I assume he's talking about whoever arrived on Blackbeard's ship and is not talking about Kizaru. Um, Maybe he's talking about Saturn because Saturn was like, make sure no one knows that I'm here. So if no one knows that he's there, they're preoccupied with Kizaru, and then he lands. Luffy might notice that and be like, that's what that is. Um, alright. And then we have a break next week. Thank you for the spoiler. Whoever this was that shared this, I got this from 3-Day Dropping in the Last Arc server. That's where I get my spoilers from usually. Um, this is shaping up to maybe be a pretty crazy chapter. Maybe we get a Kizaru clash, a Kizaru clash with Sentomaru already. Like that's confirmed. So maybe we see Kizaru running with a couple other people. Maybe we see some blows come to pass. Maybe we see a cross kick between Sanji and Kizaru. But it seems like this is probably not going to have a whole ton of fighting in it, and it seems probably more like setting up the lay of the land and how things are slowly starting to shift and move. Um, this looks like it'll probably be a pretty crazy chapter. I'm very excited to see how this is all played out. Um, there's kind of some contradictions here between the first bullet point and the like sixth one, where it says the first one says that he arrives where the crew is, and then the sixth one says that he arrives at Egghead and Sentomaru blocks a lightsaber attack. So maybe he's in two different places really quickly, or maybe he blasts, or maybe the Sentomaru clash is a flashback, just like it shows Kizaru getting to the island, clashing with Sentomaru, and then um, like that's in the middle of the chapter as a small flashback, and at the beginning of the chapter is we see Kizaru getting to where the crew is, and then like later it's explained how he got through Sentomaru and everything in that way maybe. Um, this is shaping up to be a pretty crazy chapter. It looks like. I don't like that York can just like annoy the hell out of Vegapunk by changing his password or like putting a password on the one thing he should have complete and utter control over no matter what. It's a little strange. Um, but how the fuck did she do that if she's right there with? So maybe she did it earlier. She had to have done it a little while ago, maybe. Probably. All right. Well, we're gonna leave it there, lads. Thank you for coming and visiting. Say goodbye to Freya. She's nice and cuddled up. You guys have a very good day. Thank you for coming, and thank you for being willing to experience the spoilers with me. You guys have a very good day.